Good day, everyone. My name is Mary Chanelan Cabanas from BTLED. Today, we are going to discuss about the modern art in 20th century, focusing on Impressionism and Pointillism. What comes to your mind when you hear the word Impressionism? Arts, colorful, beautiful scenery, right? So correct. Let's go deeper. When we say Impressionism, it describes a style of painting developed in France during the mid-late to 19th century. Characterization of the style include small, visible brushstrokes that offer the bare impression of form, unblended color, and an emphasis on the accurate depiction of natural light. The founding Impressionist artists including Claude Monet, Camille Pissarro, Alfred Sisley, and Edgar Degas, among others, were united by their desire to cast off the strict rules to academic style painting. In particular, the artists saw independence from the Academia des Beaux Arts and its annual salon, which was the time considered the greatest art show in the Western world. Impressionism is often termed the first modern movement in painting, in part because the greater tide of the modernization created the conditions that inspired the movement. Impressionism emerged in the 1860s as a group of painters including Monet, Sisley, Renoir, pursued plein air painting. American John Rand, who designed paint in a tube in 1841, revolutionized the art wood by offering portable premix paints and allowing artists to bring their process outdoors. The movement moved from indoor studios to the outdoor cafes, with Edward Monet being a key influence. The movement officially made its debut in 1874 in a show hosted by Félix Nadar, an alternative to the Académie des Beaux Arts Salon de Paris. The name Impressionist was derived from an insult to Monet painting, impression, or sunrise. Claude Monet. Monet was a leader of the movement, and his brief brush strokes and fragmented colors application found their way into the works of others. He was particularly interested over time in his portrayal of life. His series of paintings capturing Rouen Cathedral at the different times of the year and the day offer clear example of Monet's idea on how a subject can be transformed by properties around it. Monet expanded his Impressionist practice throughout his life, culminating in his multiple studies of the water lily pond producers from 1898 to 1926, of which the later works in the series, done just before his death, achieved an almost abstract quality. Renoir was one of the leading painters of the Impressionist group. He evolved a technique of broken brushstrokes and used bold combinations of pure complementary colors to capture the light and movement of his landscapes and figure subjects. Examples of his artworks are A Bather, Dancing Girl with Tambourine, Moulin de Galie, and more. Edward Manet, a leading artist in the transition from realism to impressionism. Edward Manet was an early modern painter who claimed city life as a worthy subject for high art. He used a direct alla prima technique, successive layers of paint on a light ground to create remarkable vibrant canvases whose opaque flatness and sketch like passages changes the acceptable norms of painting. Impressionist techniques. Impressionist artists use modern techniques such as painting and plein air in Paris, using short, visible dabs of paint, pairing in complementary colors, and using brighter paints due to synthetic pigments. They applied new layers of paint over wet layers, creating unique interminglings of colors and softening forms. These layers were rarely transparent, adding opaque dimensions of color. Impressionism and photography. The Impressionists disrupted the academic traditional composition rules by breaking the rule of arranging lines, shapes, tones, and colors in a central position. They also used cropping to improve composition, highlighting shapes and forms at the edge of the image. Impressionists like Degas embraced the asymmetrical effects of cropping, making it a prominent feature in their composition. Impressionism and Japanese prints. Japanese woodblock prints, popular in France, influenced the Impressionists with their bold designs and asymmetrical arrangements. Ukiyo, a master like Hokusai, and Hiroshige provided a precedent of tradition, allowing the Impressionists to develop their ideas about color and tradition. This is the example of Ando Hiroshige, 1797 and 1858, or the 53 station of the Tokaido. Oh, so that is one of the artwork of the Japanese. Impressionism and landscape painting. And plein air, or what we call the outdoor painting, was first popularized by the Impressionists. This was partly caused by the invention of paint in the tubes, which allowed artists to transport their entire studio apparatus in a case of the first time. Additionally, they felt that painting outside was essential to their goal of studying how light affected color in the natural world. As a result, their most natural and important subject became landscapes, both in the city and in the countryside. This is what we now automatically connect with Impressionism. Impressionism, the first movement in the contemporary art canon, had a significant impact on how art progressed during the 20th century. Impressionism eventually became widespread, like others groundbreaking forms, and its like frustrated the age that followed. Despite being deeply rooted in the Impressionist traditions, artists like Vincent van Gogh, Paul Chena, Paul Gauguin, and George Seurat pushed the style's bounds in novel ways, laying the groundworks for 20th century painting. These artists have been categorized as post-impressionist for historical reasons. Although, other than their impressionist influence, they were very similar. Pointillism. Pointillism is a form of painting in which tiny dots of primary colors are used to generate secondary colors. It is an offshoot of Impressionism, and it's usually categorized as a form of post-impressionism. Impressionism. Pointillism is focused on the specific style of brushworks, but not on the subject. In short, it is a painting technique in which an artist creates an image out of small colorful dots. Brief history. Pointillism developed in the middle 1880s and popularized by French artists Georges Seurat and Paul Signac. Pointillism is a pivotal technique in art history. Though critical reception to Pointillism was initially mixed, this painting style went on to be an important element in several artist movements. Paintings created in the pointillist style composed of tiny dots that form to create a larger image can be found in Impressionist, Neo-Impressionist, Post-Impressionist, and Fauvist works. So here is the scheme of pointillism. The scheme of pointillism is in a sharp contrast to the traditional methods of blending pigments on a palette. Pointillism is analogous to the four-color CMYK or the cayenne blue, magenta red, yellow, and key black. Printing process, televisions and computer monitors use similar techniques to represent image using red, green, and black colors. How was the technique created? Pointillism is a painting technique where artist creates larger images from small, colorful dots originating from George Seurat and Paul Signac. It began in the middle 1880s with a systematic approach. The technique, initially referred to as divisionism, has evolved into an umbrella term for work incorporating divided sections of color. Initially mocked by critics, pointillism gained popularity and became an integral part of many arts movements. George Seurat, a major pointillist artist. He is one of the most well-known pointillist painters, contributed significantly to the invention and advancement of the style. French post-impressionist painter Seurat is credited with invention pointillism and divisionism, also referred to as acromoluminarism. At the age of 24, Seurat produced some of his well-known pointillist paintings, including The Amazing Bathers of Asnieres, 1884, and the previously recognized A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of La Grande Jatte, on 1884. Undergrowth, a rare pointillist piece by Van Gogh. Van Gogh, a Dutch post-impressionist painter, was a significant figure in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. His works, mostly completed in his final years, were heavily influenced by Seurat and Signac's generation and popularization of pointillism, making him one of the most influential figures in the Western art history. In summary, pointillism, a technique developed by Seurat and Signac in the late 1880s, has been a part of art since ancient times, with Aboriginal art using dotted or stippled techniques on cave walls. British contemporary artist Damien Hirst, born in 1965, has incorporated pointillism and the traditional of dotted art into his modern art. His series of spots painting, including the first piece in 1986, focuses on the idea of dots as essential building blocks of imaginary, turning them into striking abstraction rather than clear images.